There is a kind of wickedness that does not announce itself with a loud voice. It does not come wearing a mask. It does not arrive in the night with a weapon. It comes dressed in a suit. It comes with a smile at family gatherings. It shakes hands with the pastor and drops money in the offering bowl. But behind closed doors, it looks a dying father in the eye, makes a sacred promise, watches him take his last breath, and then walks out and pretends that promise was never made. This is the story of Emmanuel At, a man who had everything: wealth, respect, a family name worth carrying, and the two young brothers his dying father placed in his hands like the most precious thing he had ever owned. What Emmanuel did with those boys is something the village of Amaife has never forgotten. And what those boys became, in spite of him, is something that not even Emmanuel himself could have predicted. To understand this story, you must first understand the man at the center of it. Chief Augustine Omeife was not a rich man, but in Amaife village, he was something more valuable than rich. He was trusted. He was the village's spiritual head, a man who had dedicated his life to his community, his faith, and his God. When disputes arose between families, it was Chief Augustine they called. When a young couple could not find peace, it was his compound they came to. When sickness visited a home and medicine could not explain it, people came to sit under his iroko tree and hear him pray. He had married 6 wives over the course of his life. Not from greed, but, as was the custom of his generation, each marriage carrying meaning and community responsibility. From these 6 wives, he had 11 children, scattered across different ages, different fruit, mothers, different fortunes in life. His eldest son, Emmanuel, was from his first wife, and Emmanuel had done what every African father secretly dreams of. He had gone out into the world and made something of himself. By the time Chief Augustine was old and grey, Emmanuel Omeife was a name that carried weight. He had a logistics company with offices in Lagos and Abuja. He had sent his wife and 4 children to live in the United States. He drove a car that cost more than most Amaife compounds put together. Emmanuel was, by every visible measure, the pride of the Omeife family. But pride, as Chief Augustine often preached from his own mouth, is the enemy that wears the face of a friend. Now from Chief Augustine's 4th wife, a quiet woman named Mama Ngozi, came 5 children. 3 of them had been fortunate. While Chief Augustine was still strong and his compound still had resources, those 3 had gone to school, found their paths, and built modest but stable lives. But the last 2, Dera, who everyone called Dera, and his younger brother Obiora, had come at a time when the old priest's health and resources had both begun to fail. There was no school fees money. There was no connection to send them forward. There was just a mother who cooked what she had, a father who prayed over what he could not provide, and 2 brilliant boys who watched their older siblings leave for school, while they stayed behind in a village that was slowly running out of room for them. Dera was 19. Obiora was 16. Both of them sharp enough to cut through glass, and nobody to give them the chance to prove it. In the dry season of 2009, Chief Augustine Omeife fell ill. Not the kind of illness that comes and goes. The kind that settles in slowly like a guest who has decided to stay. He lost weight first, then strength, then the ability to walk without help. Emmanuel came home from Lagos for the first time in 2 years. He arrived in his big car, distributed money to the compound, sat with his father for 2 hours, and prepared to leave again. It was during those 2 hours that Chief Augustine called him close.
Emmanuel, come closer. Let me see your face properly. You have done well, my son. I thank God for what he has done through your mother. God rest her. Papa, you will recover. You are still strong.
Chief Augustine looked directly into Emmanuel's eyes. He softly says, Emmanuel, do not use fine words to hide from what is true. I am going. I have made peace with that. Chief Augustine slowly reaches out his trembling hand toward Emmanuel. Emmanuel immediately takes both of his father's hands with deep respect. Chief Augustine continues quietly. But before I go, there are 2 things I must place in your hand. Chief Augustine looked into Emmanuel's eyes. He says, Dera and Obiora, Ngozi's last 2 boys, they never received the opportunities the others had. I am placing them in your hands, as your brothers, as my children. Please, send them to school. Give them a chance.
Emmanuel, I give you my word. Those boys will go handle everything. I give you my word. Those boys will go to school. I will handle everything. Thank you, my son. God will reward you.
Emmanuel stood at his father's grave, in a crisp abada, receiving condolences from the entire village. He gave a beautiful speech about his father's legacy. He donated money for the burial feast. He embraced Dera and Obiora publicly, one arm around each of them, and told the gathering that his father had been a great man and that the Omefe family would continue to stand together. The village clapped. Pastor David Eze watched quietly from beneath the mango tree. And Dera, standing inside his brother's embrace, whispered a prayer that the promise was real. It was not real. Within 6 weeks of burying their father, Emmanuel Omefe went back to Lagos, back to his company, back to his life. And he never called Amaife again. Stay with me, because what happened to those 2 boys is not the end of this story. It is only the beginning. Mama Ngozi waited. She waited for a phone call. She waited for a message through a relative. She waited for an envelope with school fees. She waited the way only a mother can wait, quietly, desperately, without wanting to burden her children with her fear. Nothing came. Dera took matters into his own hands. He found work at a mechanic workshop in the next town, repairing engines he had never been formally trained on, learning by watching, by asking, by refusing to accept that this was the ceiling of his life. Obiora read everything he could find, borrowed books from a community library, taught himself things that men with university degrees did not know. He started teaching children in the village for small fees. And those children's results became so remarkable that parents began asking where this young teacher had gone to school. He had not gone anywhere. He had simply refused to stop learning.
Dera, it has been 1 year. Emmanuel has not called. He has not sent anything. I think we should accept.
Do not finish that sentence. We are not accepting anything. Emmanuel made a promise to our father. Whether he keeps it or not, that is between him and God.
I refuse to sit down and use his failure as a reason to give up.
Dera began speaking to himself, almost like a vow. I am going to that polytechnic in town. I've been saving. It will take time, but I will get there. Papa trusted Emmanuel because he believed in him, but Papa is gone now. I'm still here. I will not let another man's broken promise decide my future. We are Omife, and the Omife blood does not give up. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Omife was at the top of the world. By 2015, his logistics company had expanded to 3 states. He had bought property in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. His children were in American universities. His wife posted photos from their holidays in Dubai, London, and Atlanta on social media. His name appeared in business magazines. At every Amaife gathering he attended, which was rarely, he was the man everyone pointed to. The success story. The one who made it out. He gave money generously at these gatherings. He was photographed with chiefs and pastors. He built a small structure at the village church and put his name on a plaque at the entrance. His father's name was on the plaque too. But Dera and Obiora, his father's last request, were not mentioned on any plaque. They were not mentioned anywhere. Watch out for part 2, where Emmanuel Omife finally comes face to face with the promise he spent years trying to forget.